Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Satish. In this video, we'll look at how to choose a health insurance in India and what are the things you need to look at when you are considering a health insurance. In fact, this is one of the things that took a lot of time for me to come to a decision. I always was putting this away, and in fact, I had colleagues in office trying to follow up on this as well. Without further ado, I believe there are about 20 different factors you need to look at when you're choosing a health insurance. So let's go one by one so that you have an understanding and you discuss all of these things or evaluate across all these 20 different factors when you choose a health insurance in India. So the first and foremost thing is the amount of coverage you would need, right? So coverage is essentially how much money does health insurance will cover in a single bill or for that year. It ranges from anywhere from 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs to 1 crore or 2 crores or even higher as well, right? So first you need to understand that in India the healthcare costs are growing. The inflation of healthcare cost is about anywhere from 5 to 10%. This is what they say. It could be higher also, right? So technically, what happens is, if let's say a procedure is costing us 4 lakhs, and within a span of 10%, it's going to double in every 7 years. So the approximate number, not exactly. So based on that, you need to come up with a number that is actually going to fit your medical needs. So there is not a right or a wrong number here, right? So in the past we were only taking like 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, right? But with the way the world is changing, the healthcare costs are rising tremendously, and so the general suggestion is go for anywhere around 25 lakhs up to 1 crore. That's the minimum you need. Don't go anything less than 25 lakhs. I mean, if you have a runway, imagine I'm assuming you are in early 30s or late 30s, or early 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, right? In your life, maybe 30, 40 years. So by the time you actually start to consume this, you will be like really, towards the end, and then the inflation and all of that will add up and it's going to be significant. So don't go for anything less than 25 lakhs. The problem is once you change any of these limits, once you start your health insurance, right, they will again reassess your whole thing. So you can't really change these numbers or tweak these numbers later point in life because they have a lot of data about your health. So that's why pick a number in the beginning only when you're young and when you're starting your plan, so that you don't have to like regret it later, right? So the baseline is 25 lakhs and higher the better. In my case, I've chosen about 1 crore, so that's what I've chosen, and there are additional benefits that come with it with no claim bonus and all of that, so that can come up to 3 crore coverage, so that's what I've chosen. So the second one is individual or family floater, right? So if you're a family, you have a kid, right, or wife and husband, right, then look for options that offer this family floater plans, right? So usually when you do a family floater plan, you get the advantage that the amount that you actually, the coverage amount, be it 25 lakhs or 10 lakhs, that's actually distributed across all the 4 people. So you don't have to like take one, right, and for each person. So that's the advantage. But also one important thing is for kids, that usually they cover until they turn 21, so most of them. So check with that as well. So that's when you pick that. So pick something that has a family floater option. So there's the second one. The third one is network of hospitals, right? So look at the network of hospitals they have access to, right? The policy or the company that you take health insurance with. How many hospitals are there in network? The higher the better. Most of the good companies have a higher network, the larger network. Sometimes not necessarily higher is always better, but again, choose something that is reasonable, right? You may not have everything, but choose the one with the higher network. The reason is, imagine you get accident in some remote area, then, do you have a hospital close by or not, So that's the idea, right? So the next one is cashless option, right? Number 4. Cashless option is essentially, right, when you go into hospital, there are some places where you take the bill, you pay them, and then you settle the claims. But the other option is you just get a letter from the insurance provider and then everything is cashless. So this is what is called cashless. So always pick something that is cashless because insurance bill settlement can be a hassle, frankly. So I've seen many scenarios where they ask for hundreds of procedures after you discharge, and you will take a lot of time to get it settled. So when you go for cashless, all of these hassles are eliminated to some extent. So that's why highly recommend go for cashless option, right? That's the number 4. The fifth one is waiting period, right? Waiting period for pre-existing conditions and specific illnesses. So waiting periods are essentially like, let's say somebody is diagnosed with diabetes, right? So they usually, medical companies don't want to take too much risk. So they will have like a 3-year waiting period. Most of them have 3-year waiting period. So that is for pre-existing conditions, they call it like diabetes, BP, kind of all these things, right? So for them, they'll say 3-year waiting period. So some of them you can pay and get out of the waiting period. And for some of them, there is also something called, they call it specific illness waiting period also. Like for example, something, let's say somebody has a cataract, you can delay that, it's not life threatening. So that one, there is a wait time of about 2 years, 1 year, again, depending on the plan. So you have to check this, what are the things and how much waiting period. The general rule of thumb is 3 years, most of them, and specific illness is 2 years. The number 6 one is co-payment, right? Co-payment and disease-wise sublimits. Co-payment is basically the amount you would pay before the insurer actually pays for it, right? So that is called co-payment. So pick for a plan that doesn't have co-payment, just to make your life simpler. Otherwise, when you have co-payment, the policy can come down. But there are again some tricks here, right? Again, I mean, you once you pick a plan with co-payment, then you always will be tied to that. So I mean, I picked a plan that didn't have co-payment just to make my life easier, right? So that anything that comes in, I just go and it's all done. But if you want to keep your premium lower, you could choose an option that has a co-payment option, so that way you can keep it low. And the second one is disease-wise sublimits, right, in that as well. So sometimes what happens is these policies have disease-wise sublimits. What it means is for certain diseases, they will say, okay, let's say I have a 10 lakh coverage for you for, let's say, cancer or one of these, right? They say only I'll cover 10% of your amount or 10 lakhs. Of that, 10% is 1 lakh, right? Of 10 lakhs. So you need to check with that if there are disease-wise sublimits. This is very, very important because sometimes, the disease sublimits, you think you have coverage, but if there are any sublimits, then you're really, really doomed, if you get the wrong disease, right? So that's why this is important to check that as part of this co-payment and disease sublimits. The next one is, the biggest one is a room rent limits, right? So, basically you have to, there is a lot of fine print, these guys, when they put it. So you should be able to choose any room you want and there should not be any restriction on the room rent or the room type you choose. Sometimes some say 4-bed shared or 2-bed shared or single room, so the premium will be different for each of them. So look for a plan that doesn't have room rent limit. The idea is, let's say you go for a room that is nicer, you want to have a separate privacy and all, right, then you'd be paying a lot more. So that's why then if there is any limit on the room rent, then you're going to have problems with that. So that's why pick something that doesn't have a room rent limit. So that's the number 7th one. So the 8th one is maternity and newborn coverage. So again, this is totally depends on where in your where as a family where you stand, right? Let's say you don't have kids yet, then this could be an important priority for you if they cover maternity benefits or newborn related benefits as such, right? But if you already have kids, then this is not relevant for you. So choose, look for this option, and if they offer it or not. And in our case, we already have kids, so this was not a priority for them, but this is an important one to look to, right? So the other one is no claim bonus. No claim bonus is just a term that is used across insurance, right? Let's say you don't make any claim this year, then they give certain bonus. Sometimes they basically give 10% of what your previous coverage, or they give a number, right? Or they keep increasing your coverage 2x, 3x, and there is a limit on that, right? See what kind of offers they have for a no claim bonus. So that's one thing look at, right? And the 10th one is most important one is claim settlement ratio, right? Claim settlement ratio is basically how much of the claims did they settle. Like let's say 100 claims came in, did they settle 99 of them or 80 of them or 70 of them? So these numbers are actually public, you can look at them on an IRDA website or even provided by them and see, and look for a minimum 3 years, So when I look at some companies like, websites, they say no claim bonus 99% or 100%, last 1 month they'll say, or last 1 year. So very, very careful because this is where you could really be conned, So look for the last no claim bonus for the last 3 years. So that way you have a good history of, how they've been processing claims, Ideally, you should look at 3 years or more, and anywhere around 98, 99 is very good, right? Or for other plans, anywhere over 80 they say is good, but depending on the age, right? So higher the better, that's the way I see it, right? So the 10th one is no claim bonus. So the next one, the 11th one is super top-up or top-up option. So the top-up option, the way it works is, let's say an insurance of 5 lakhs now, and then the way top-up works is they will cover only after you pay the 5 lakhs. Technically, this is like an additional layer of insurance, on top of insurance. The reason this works is sometimes the insurance comes out to be cheaper when you take two different plans. Again, this is how it works, right? So check if they offer a super top up or a top up plan. Both kind of same. Super top up comes with more benefits, with more number of times you can use the super top up, the top up option. But again, in my case, I did not choose the top up option. I went with the plan with full coverage, because I looked at the price and they were pretty, even. So that's why it is. But if you have older parents, if you want to look at somebody, in their cases, you could go for a super top up, or if you want to take a backup kind of an insurance, you could take this as another option as well. So look for this option, the super top up or a top up option, right? So the next one is daycare procedures, right? So daycare procedures are the ones, let's say you go to a hospital and they will only take less than 24 hours for them to do the procedure. Could be like a simple surgery, maybe you something happened to your finger, or you plan something appeared on your arm, whatever it. You just do it as a planned procedure and it's less than 24 hours. You don't really get admitted. So you in that cases, you have to ensure that the policy covers that if it's less than 24 hours. So this is called daycare procedures. So ensure that it's covered. This is also an important one, right? So 13th one is Ayush Treatment or Unani. All there are certain types of like I would say medicinal practices that people follow, right? Let's say sometimes Ayurvedic could be good for certain ailment, right? So in that case, you may want to look what kind of other things other than English medicine it covers, Ayush, because sometimes massages, all of these things help. So in fact, I took one that had Ayush treatment and other things, that are very, very famous in India, right? So look for that covers that. That's number 13, right? So the next one is important one is 14th one is domiciliary. Domiciliary is essentially what it means is that imagine you are stuck at home and you got sick. There is no way you can get the treatment. You cannot really move out of your home, and you are stuck in your home. Now, they should be able to cover the insurance should be able to cover the expenses, whatever treatment you're getting at home. So this is called domiciliary. So these are scenarios like, let's say during COVID, right? You were probably placed at home and getting treatment there. Then in that kind of say, does the insurance cover that kind of expenses, the doctor expenses and all of that, right? So, look for something that has domiciliary coverage, right? So that's another important one. We don't know where world would, appear in the next 10, 15 years, right? So we already seen one COVID. So this is an important one to look at. So other feature number 15 is to look at health checkups, right? So some of these insurance, and most of them have a health checkup option. Like let's say you want to do health checkup once a year, or, they will give you like a coverage up to 5,000 or 10,000, whatever that number. Again, we'll come to this if you should take it or do not take it, but the idea is this is an option you should always consider, right? If you see does it do reimbursement for health check or not, so we'll look at this, in our next video, is it wise thing to do or not, right? So that's the one, right? The next one, 16th one is restoration add-ons or benefits, right? So restoration is essentially, let's say you deplete all your, like let's say you've taken a 10 lakh policy and you forever, whatever reason you got a big injury and, and they had to do a big surgery and 10 lakhs is over. Now, next time, after 6 months, again, somebody in your family or you again get sick. Now, you've already exhausted your annual limit, of 10 lakhs. Now, what do you do, right? So in that cases, this is where restoration add-on comes into the picture. So restoration means whatever you claimed is restored again so that you can actually use that again 10 lakhs again, right? So that is the idea, right? So essentially look for something that offers unlimited restorations. I've took something that had unlimited restorations. So the better, the unlimited is better. There is an add-on. Usually they offer this an add-on. So just go for this add-on and take it if they offer this or not. If not, look for something that offers this, right? The next one, 17th one is OPD coverage. So most of OPD means, let's say you go to a doctor, you're sick for fever, you just go and come back, right? Outpatient, thing, that was OPD is called, right? For OPDs, right, most of the plans do not cover it, to be very frank, right? There are few of them, you have to take them separate, but check if they offer it, God knows, some of them they may offer, but usually when they club this in, then it becomes complicated. So, most of them do not offer, but if they offer it, just why not take it, right? So that's the 17th one. So 18th one is pre and post hospitalization coverage. So pre means, let's say, imagine before, let's say you go to a doctor, for example, some diagnosis, and doctor says you have this XYZ ailment. and he says, get your CT scan done. And then after that, he realizes you need to get admitted and get this surgery done. Now, what happens is, because you actually spent a lot of money on all these tests, now, before this called pre-hospitalization coverage, usually there is a day, it's about 60 days for pre-hospitalization or 180 days after hospitalization, meaning that, let's say you get discharged after procedure is done, whatever, and then it should cover up to 180 days, so 60 is pre and 180 is post. So you should look for plans that offer pre and post with a decent number, because you don't know, right, how long you will need support after you out of hospital, even before, right? So look for one that offers a decent one. So the next one, the 19th one, is premium cost comparison, right? Look for the plans, you put all of them in a piece of paper and which offers the best premium. Always, the cheapest may not be the best, this is where you need to use a little bit of judgment and look at that. So we will look at, how to choose a plan, which companies to look for and all of that in another video. But for now, the policy premium is also an important driving factor. Don't always opt for the cheapest because it's coming for cheap. You're going to just take it. Look for all of the parameters and then come to a decision. So premium policy, the premium of the policy is also a very important factor to consider. And don't go blindly with the cheapest one. And the last and not the least one is the 20th one is proximity to you. So an important one you need to look at is what are the hospitals closer to you or the big medical facilities around to you, and does your plan that you take covers that? We don't know where you will live in the future, but at least you should look at where you are around, and if the nearby hospitals have that. The reason is, most of the times, if there is an emergency, you would likely to go there, you're likely to get treatment from that places, right? So look for hospitals around you and see if the plan you're going to take is going to cover all of these. So in summary, folks, I won't even repeat all the 20. So I'm going to put it on the screen so that you can see. So these are the 20 different factors you need to look at, ranging from coverage amount all the way to proximity to you. Look each of them one by one, evaluate them in detail, and then put them in a table, and then look at what are the plans that cover it. So this is what folks, it took me more than a week to actually come up with this. I talked to so many people to do this, and it's been quite a journey for me. In the next video, what we will look at is which companies to look for, how do you evaluate plans, whom to talk to, what companies, all these things we'll cover. So that's looking forward to the next video. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. Do subscribe for getting regular updates.